Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of What Did I Get This Week? So this is going to be episode 3. As I mentioned in the previous video, there was no episode last week because I literally just got one manga volume, so I've just opted to include that in this one. So yeah. This week would have been only books again, but I did actually get one delivery from P Bandai just yesterday, so we'll take a look at that as well. I did also get a Big Bad Toy Store delivery, but I'm going to save that for a separate video since I shipped out my whole pile of loot with like a bunch of figures in it, so I didn't want to mix that in with this video and make it super long. So starting off with our first book here, we've got Kagurabachi Volume 6, and what is there to say about Kagurabachi? I think the series has really proven itself to be a lot more than the hype made it out to be. There was that kind of whole weird fake hype thing, but I'm glad that it actually turned out to be really good. It is a bit edgy, and it's also incredibly hype, as the memes made it out to be, but there's luckily a lot more to it than that. I think the characters are great so far, especially Samura here, and Uraha is also pretty good. The action and the framing of this series are really top-notch. I mean, you just have so many really awesome looking panels. I really like the heavy use of black and white contrast. Talking a bit about the current arc, it is really awesome so far. It feels like we're kind of getting close to the end of that arc, and this is like a major turning point in the series, so I'm really excited to see where we go next. I won't say anything just to avoid spoilers, but if you're caught up, then I'm sure you're in the same boat as me. So yeah, Volume 6 here is kind of the point in the Samura arc where all the fights are taking place, and then either next volume or the one after that, we'll get all this stuff with Iori. That really brings everything full circle in terms of action, emotion, and character dynamics. Next up, we've got Volume 4 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, and I'm just going to say it, I like Boruto. Obviously it's not as good as Naruto, but I really don't think it needs to be. You know, it's doing its own thing, and I can appreciate that. I think the handling of the legacy characters is a bit rough at times, but I'm sure it was hard to figure out what to do with them when the focus is supposed to be on the new generation, but you still have the original characters in the picture, and they're super overpowered. Four Knights of the Apocalypse, I think, actually does a really good job of balancing the new cast and the old cast, but the way that Boruto does it isn't terrible either. I actually really like Ikimoto's art. It's kind of a cool blend of Kishimoto with some more realistic and detailed anatomy, and sort of the rough, wobbly, I guess, line work is a really cool look in my opinion. The original character designs for the series I think are also really cool. Like, knowing that the Otsutsuki are aliens, and then you see these guys, you're like, yeah, these are definitely some weird aliens. Not the usual Naruto villains that we were used to seeing in the original series. Ryu especially, who's introduced in this volume, looks pretty sweet. I know a lot of people, at least in the Viz comments, complain about all these chapters where nothing really happens and it's just characters talking, but I think that's actually some of the more interesting parts of the series. And Naruto 2 was always like very much a character drama, so I think what's going on in the sequel fits with that really well. And there is still a fair amount of action too. I also think, reading a series with only one chapter a month, you feel the slower chapters a lot more, and it can seem like there's nothing really going on. But yeah, Boruto, definitely solid. I enjoy reading it every month, and I think it gets more hate than it deserves. Next up, we've got Blue Box Volume 19, and it kind of feels like this series is going to be ending soon. With the last handful of chapters, we're resolving a lot of our main plot points, so I wouldn't be surprised if it wraps up sometime this year. Blue Box is never really the series that I'm looking forward to the most every Saturday, but it's still really great. And I think that just speaks to how strong Shonen Jump's current core lineup is. This series has definitely gotten its fair share of emotions out of me, joy, laughter, tears, everything. I think it's a really good teenage drama, coming-of-age story. And the sports elements, which there's not too much of in this volume, but I think those are also really well done. The recent match between Taiki and Kyo here was really great. Moving on, we've got Dun 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 Volume 17, and I actually did not realize how far behind this physical release was. Like, this is still Momonzuma trapped in the cursed board game. I don't know what the common consensus for this arc is, but I thought it was a lot of fun. Not to mention all the insane double-page spreads in this arc. Like, these battle scenes with all the characters are just ridiculous. And then this volume ends with Bokurun and Zuma's gang all invading the board game to get them out of there. I don't think it needs to be said, but Dun 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 really is just a fantastic manga. Some of the best art in the industry right now, and it's just so much fun. It's silly, wacky, but then it's also got the emotional core to it as well. I don't really have that much to say on it. I think it's gotten really popular since the anime came out, so most people probably know at least what the series is, or they're already fans of it. Speaking of which, super happy that Science Saru absolutely nailed the anime, really capturing the same vibe as the manga, but obviously using the strengths of the anime medium. Here's one I'm just going to touch on very briefly, Bugle Call Song of War Volume 5. So this is actually the only volume that I got this week for a series that I have not started reading yet. This one I actually saw on Twitter a really long time ago. I think the mangaka uploaded like the first chapter or something, and I had it bookmarked, and I meant to look into it more, see if anybody had translated it. But then by the time I knew it, it was already getting an official English release. So looking forward to starting this one eventually. I might wait for a couple more volumes to come out first. Finally here in print is Ichi the Witch Volume 1. I think this is a really solid series. The last two arcs especially, like the current one and then the one before that, have really sold me on the series. I think it's awesome that the Act Age artist is getting another shot in Shonen Jump after the whole unfortunate situation with that manga's cancellation. And I think the writer is actually the same as Iruma-kun, which I want to check out at some point as well. Not much to say about this one, but it's a very fun fantasy magic adventure series with a lot of cool characters and enemies as well. I was just flipping through to look for some other cool pages, and I wonder if that's a mistake. Why that's not centered. Weird. Next up we've got Kill Blue Volume 5, and this is actually one of those series that I didn't really think would get a physical release, given how long it took Viz to actually announce it. The series is over now. I liked it well enough, although I think the ending was maybe a little rushed. But the most important thing to me about this manga getting a physical release is that it gives me more hope that we'll see a Witch Watch physical release someday. Because, like, why does Witch Watch not have a physical release? It's one of the longest running series in the magazine right now. It's from a well-known returning mangaka, and the volume covers, at least in my opinion, are absolutely gorgeous. Not to mention we just got the anime too, boosting its popularity and sales over in Japan, I would assume. So I think it's about time that Witch Watch makes its way over here in print. I don't know how popular it is over here, but it's a darn shame that I can't put it on my shelf because I love Witch Watch. Kind of funny that I spent most of my time in the Kill Blue section talking about another manga, but oh well. Here's another potentially questionable physical release, and that is Astro Royale. This is Volume 4. Because, as you guys probably know, the series was canceled at like 5 or 6 volumes. Although I think the physical release might have been announced before that happened, so I guess they didn't know. The series was kind of a shock to see in the pages of Weekly Shonen Jump specifically. Obviously this is the same mangaka as Tokyo Revengers, which is one of the biggest series in Weekly Shonen magazine back when that was ongoing. So I kind of associated Wakui himself with that magazine. I think Astro Royale had a interesting enough setup, and the different powers were cool, and I liked the way they were depicted, but it kind of became like Tokyo Revengers, but they have superpowers. That's kind of how it felt to me. But yeah, I mean, they do look really cool. The art is also really solid in this series, you know, if you're a fan of Wakui's style, which I am. And I think he's able to do a little bit more with the fights, you know, given that the characters have superpowers, whereas Tokyo Revengers, they're just regular kids. It's always a shame when a popular mangaka returns with a new series and then it gets axed immediately, like Kishimoto with Samurai 8. But I do kind of agree with Shonen Jump on this one. There wasn't enough for me to keep me invested, so. That being said, the character designs were a lot of fun. And then our last Viz book for the week is a big one. We've got Steel Ball Run, Volume 5. So this volume has one of my favorite arcs in the story. It's the Catch the Rainbow fight, or at least the ending chapters of it. And even though I love this arc and this stand specifically, they really butchered it with the localized name. I get why they chose stroboscope in terms of how it relates to Blackmore's powers, but come on. I won't talk about it too much since people like Come On Beat have covered the topic of JoJo's English release far better than I could just in a random video like this. So instead I will move on to complaining about something else wrong with Viz's English release of JoJo. I don't think I'm the first to say it, and I definitely won't be the last, but these volumes are just super ugly in my opinion. The sort of like cross-hatching pattern they've got here I think could have worked, but I just don't get why they chose such harsh colors. Like, it's like neon green, orange, and pink all together. It's just a lot to look at. It really stands out on the shelf, but kind of in the worst way possible. I didn't love their original volume designs for Diamond is Unbreakable, Golden Wind, and Stone Ocean, but looking back I definitely would have taken more designs like that over this. At first, I kind of thought they would maybe, change up the colors on this pattern to match the volume covers of each new volume, but that obviously is not the case since it has been the same no matter what the colors on the cover have been. And then of course you have other issues like when Volume 1 came out, I of course got the first printing where you had all the editing mistakes from the redrawing process, and then stuff like Volume 3 or 4 where they were missing those color pages in, I think, the first Tusk chapter. No idea if that's been fixed in subsequent reprints. But yeah, it's just hard to want to support, the official release of my favorite series when there's so many issues with it. Not even just in Steel Ball Run, but previous parts as well. Like, the one that comes to mind is Part 5, how all the color pages were super smeared and blurry for some reason. And then obviously the localized names, not only just being bad, but then also potentially not even being necessary. It's just the whole thing, I guess. Moving on to the few books I got from Kodansha this week, we've got Dead Rock Volume 4. So this is Mashima's new series. Well, maybe not so new anymore, I guess we're like 30 chapters in, and it's a monthly series, so it's already a couple years old. I like this series. I think it's fun. It has a different enough vibe from Fairy Tail and Eden Zero. Haven't read Rave Master, so I can't say. Although, as we go on in Dead Rock, it does seem like it's becoming more and more like Fairy Tail and Eden Zero, but I'm still enjoying it anyway. I know Mashima typically strays away from like darker themes and gore and blood and stuff, but this series actually does have a decent amount of it, being more of a dark fantasy setting. I mean, the main character's main goal literally is to kill somebody, so... But yeah, I think the setting's a lot of fun. It's kind of like Harry Potter if everybody was a demon and they didn't mind killing each other. I will say, I don't know if this is true, I just heard this somewhere, but it would be kind of a shame if it is true that Eden Zero's ending kind of falling flat was a result of Mashima wanting to end the series as quickly as possible to start on his new idea. He does seem to always start off the series pretty strong, but then maybe they go on a bit too long, or he just gets bored, and they kind of seem to fall flat by the end, like I said. Anyway, really cool volume covers with this series. I feel like most manga, if they're not like differently colored for each volume, they're usually white as default, so having some black spines like this on the shelf does stand out a lot. And fits with the, well, quote-unquote darker themes of the series. One thing to point out about the art in the series is that it does seem to be like kind of a simplified version of Mashima's style. definitely feels like it's all digital now, if I had to guess. Or at least mostly digital. But there's still some good pages. The backgrounds in particular, I think, are really well done. Super detailed, and a lot of them are pretty creative settings for a fantasy manga. And the simplified style does also kind of lend itself to these super dramatic close-ups on characters, where you have like a very thick, almost messy line work to it. Yeah, I guess I kind of talked about this one more than I planned to, so maybe I like it more than I thought. And then the only other book from Kodansha this week is going to be Tower Dungeon, and this is Volume 4. I got into this series after seeing fan art by none other than Yukino Tatsu, mangaka of Dandadan, if you didn't know. Twitter might suck horribly, but if you follow the right people, I mostly just follow manga artists, I guess you can make it a bearable experience. Anyway, after I saw that fan art and looked up the series, I was surprised and also excited to see that it was by Tsutomu Nihei. I haven't read all of his stuff yet, but I really love Blam, and the others I've read like Biomega and Abara are also pretty great. It's very cool to see him do a fantasy series. I typically associate him with like dark sci-fi. The art here is a lot simpler than the other stuff I've read by him, but I do know it's kind of been a gradual shift, because I haven't read like Knights of Sidonia, but I've seen some panels from that. That being said, kind of similar to Dead Rock, I do still really love the simplified style. I think it still looks great. One of the things I think that Nihei is best at is these otherworldly sorts of geography and landscapes. A lot of Blam energy in this series. There's a very like eerie kind of beauty about a lot of his landscapes or wide shot panels. Yeah, here's the weird, creepy, gross part of it. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this series. I really enjoy reading it every month. And then for the last two volumes of the week, we've got Baki 9 and 10 of the official English release. So Baki is definitely one of those series that I thought we'd never see a physical release for, but here we are. We're now almost halfway through the original series, getting 2 of these Kanzenban volumes every month, which is a pretty wild release schedule, at least compared to like Viz and Kodansha and stuff. These books are super high quality. Really nice dust jackets with sort of a holographic logo on them. And they also include all of the original color pages, which is always a plus. Obviously it makes sense to start with the beginning, you know, if you're going to do a Baki release, but it is really nice to see, especially because like for the longest time, early Baki had pretty questionable scans, and when I first read the series, there were like just chunks of chapters missing where there were no scans that I could find, which meant I had to watch the really mid original anime. Not the OVA, but the 2000s one. But now we just straight up have a physical release. Fingers crossed that they continue with these releases and also go on to do the other parts as well. I would love to have a complete collection of Baki in English, officially made with such high quality. And then for the last item of the week, the one figure, as I mentioned, came from Premium Bandai, and that's going to be the Figuarts Mihawk. And I'm happy to say that he's pretty good. I've already opened it up, taken some pictures and everything, but there are a few small issues that I have with it. I wish the ab crunch was deeper. The knees, I guess you can't really see in any of these pictures, are pretty ugly when you bend them. And they also don't get enough range, which kind of seems to be an unfortunate trend in the One Piece line. I'm thinking Sabo, Zoro, yeah, there's others I'm sure. And then the ankles, at least on mine, seem a bit loose, which is kind of worrying with a character that has a big plastic coat and a giant sword. Although I will say the sword actually is not as heavy as I thought it was going to be. It's pretty light plastic. But other than those small issues, I think he does look really good. And there's definitely enough accessories, I think. In general, I like this DLC faceplate thing they're doing. So with this one you get the crying Zoro face, and then you can't see it, but there's another Luffy face, of course. But I will say some of them kind of felt like they maybe should have been included with the actual figure they're made for with that original release. Like the Zoro one, for example, makes sense because it's from the scene where he fights Mihawk. But I feel like there have been other like Luffy faces or Naruto faces that would have been nice to have had with that original release, in case you're not a completionist like I am. But yeah, definitely solid, even though it does unfortunately maintain some of the same issues plaguing basically the entire One Piece line. So yeah, that is everything I got this week. These are probably my favorite releases. I really like this Boruto cover, same with the Dead Rock cover, and then, like I said, Tower Dungeon. Really enjoying that series. Next week I might also not have an episode. I think I only have 1 or 2 books coming, so those will get grouped in with the following week probably. But I do want to try to have one of the Amiami haul videos up by then. It's filmed, I just need to actually edit it and put it together. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya.